Alright, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing a video on how to install an aftermarket Android navigation system in your Gen 4 CRV, which includes 2012 through 2016. So I'm installing the JY brand DVD or navigation system. Over the years, I've come to find that out of all of the aftermarket Android systems, JY is hands down the best. Their hardware is better and their software is better than all the rest, in my opinion. So this video is in no way sponsored by them, and I did pay full price for the stereo, just to get that out of the way. So basically, this stereo will replace the entire section here. Most of it is plug and play as far as the wiring is concerned. You see, I just opened the box. So here is our screen. You can see it's got part of the dash vents installed on it. So we'll have to do a little modifications to remove the middle parts and install them on here. You have the main, unit itself. And you've got miscellaneous wiring harnesses also. That's your CAN decoder. So it is factory plug and play with steering wheel controls and all of that type of stuff. The only thing that I do not think it supports right out of the box is the factory backup camera. I will be attempting to hook that up, and I will show you the parts needed to integrate the factory backup camera into the system. So the first thing we need to do is get the old one out. So just understand that all Honda radios have a code that should be written down, in your user manual somewhere. You should have got it when you got the car. You'll need that factory radio code if you ever want to put this radio back in once it's removed. It's Honda's idea of an anti-theft feature. You can also get it off of a website. If you ever need it again, you just need some identifying information about your car. So to get this one off, we'll need like a trim removal tool, and what we're going to do is we're going to carefully, you can see the vents pry out. So both sides, just get behind here and pry these out. Then that exposes an 8mm bolt on both sides that needs to come out. And then you just pull. There are a few clips. That would be a good time to make sure we don't have a CD in the drive. There is a wiring harness up here that we need to remove for our flashers. And then on the back of the stereo, we're going to remove all of these connections. There's just tabs you push down and they pull right out, as you can see. All right, so to remove this last tab, take a small flathead screwdriver, push down in this little tab here, move that like that, and then that pulls right out. All right, so we will have to transfer over the hazard button. There's just 2 Phillips head screws we take out, and then that will screw into the back of this piece here before we do our final assembly. All right, before we get rid of this completely, you will need to take these brackets off the side, or the brackets off the side, as they will bolt to this unit to hold it in place. It does not come with its own brackets. You need to use the ones off the factory stereo. All right, so this is what your brackets will look like when they're put on the stereo. All right, so it's always kind of petty to me that they don't include this stuff, but so on the back of this unit here, you can see there's screw holes just like they match up to the screws on the vents. So unscrew that from there, transfer it over. You also even have to transfer over these little white clips. So you basically have to carefully pry these things off and transfer them onto here, and they just snap on like that. Same thing with the metal ones. all that has to be transferred over to the new unit. So it would be nice if they included that stuff. It just save a little bit of time, but just takes a few minutes to transfer all this stuff over. All right, so once you get everything transferred over, it should look something like this. Just one thing to note, I had to use some smaller screws to bolt in the hazard button, because if you use the ones that are in the factory stereo, they kind of push it out of place, and it won't let you actuate the button. So when we took all the clips off, the little white clips off the vents in the stereo, there's just enough of them to snap onto all of these. Just understand that on the factory stereo, the ones that are on the bottom, those red clips that were on the bottom, those will not be used on the new faceplate. Okay, so really, if you're just installing what they give you in the box here, we're pretty much done. All we have to do is take the harness they gave us, plug everything in, and hook it up. But I'm going to be doing some optional things. So they do give us a external microphone here and a couple of these extra feet, which we won't need. So I need to probably run the external microphone somewhere. They give you a couple of, well, here's a USB extension cable. I was hoping they would give us a way to use our factory USB, but it doesn't look like they do in this kit, like they do on some of the later model ones. This is a 4G antenna. Should be 2 of those. I'm not going to be using 4G on this unit, but you can put a SIM card in this slot right here. But you'll have to check the frequencies. It doesn't look like it's really meant to work in the United States. Most people just use the built-in Wi-Fi, connect to a Wi-Fi hotspot on their phone. Another USB extension cable, and then this is our GPS antenna right here. We'll have to mount this under the dash somewhere. And if we put it down here, it would be too low. I'm gonna have to put it up here somewhere. So what I'm gonna be doing now, I'm gonna be taking this top part off so I can access the back of the wiring for the screen, because that's gonna come into play for our backup camera. If you did not hook this up, your backup camera would still display on this little screen. But I want it to display on the big screen. All right, so to get this upper screen off, I'm gonna take out this screw here. All right, just pry it up like that. See, that's out of the way now. See, there's wiring on the back of here. Believe it or not, that's actually the plug for the USB port in a Honda. All right, so to tie into the backup camera, the different model years could be different, but I know this is good for at least 13, 14, around there. So I've got this 32 pin connector here on the back of the iMid unit that I've unplugged. And what we're looking for is A3 and A19. So it's looking at the connector from the wire side. Look at the top row here and we count 1, 2, 3 spots in. There's a white wire, and that white wire is the ground signal for the camera. And I'm not talking about the power, I'm talking about the video feed. And then if we look down here, we want A19, and it's a red wire. You can see it. And it is also, it's the third, it's kind of wrapped by that yellow, but it's the third one in from the right, the red wire. That's our positive feed for the video. So what I'm gonna do is I just have this spare RCA cable. I'm gonna cut one end off, and we'll use the center, whatever the color of the wire is, the center cable, connect to the red, and the outside, which is the ground, will connect to the green wire, and then the other end will plug in down here to our camera input for the head unit. And that will give us our video on the head unit as well. All right, so I've got that spliced in there, and sorry I didn't show the process, but it's just really tiny wires. So I just used a razor, kind of shaved the insulation off, wrapped the wires, just put a little bit of solder on them, and then retaped everything back up. So now our backup camera should work. All right, so while we are up here, now would be a good time to mount your antenna for GPS, like I mentioned before. You want a flat spot that's just under the plastic here. You need something to sit it on though, so if I reach my hand under here, which I can't really show, there's like some vent work and such back there. I could use some double-sided tape and attach the GPS antenna just under there. Up here, there's also a flat spot, like way up under the hood, almost directly, or under the dash, way up under here. So I'll probably use that up there. There's a little flat spot. And then you'll just want to run your wire down behind here where we ran this and out to where it can connect to the back of the receiver. Okay, so if you look in the top of the screen there, you can see the GPS antenna, how I've placed it. There's a nice flat edge up there, and it's stuck in place with some 3M double-sided tape. All right, so the next thing I need to worry about is I'm going to install a USB port, another one, because we cannot reuse the factory one unless you buy an adapter to adapt the one that plugs into the back of the iMid screen. I'm not even going to worry about it because I'm not crazy with where it's located. I kind of want it to be right here. So what you can do is this panel right here, if you take your trim removal tool, see this little panel pops off right here. And behind here, there's just enough room, it looks like. I can drill a 3/4 inch hole right here and take my USB cable here and pop it in there. Then I can run the wire up behind here, right up here to the radio. Okay. All right, so to feed the wire up, on the side here, which you can't really see, there's an access panel that pops off. So you can feed the wire through there and then reach up and pull it up in there. There's a nice little access hole. So you kind of have to be picky about which USB port you use because they don't all seem to want to work right with Android Auto. So I try to stick to a USB 2.0 port. I've had good luck with this one here that I'm using, and had bad luck with the newer blue USB 3.0 ports not working. So take this, pull it through here. Alright, so we've got a little bit of a clearance issue in there. Probably have to cut a little bit of, just a little bit of plastic out right here, just so this can clear. All right, so I'm just using a razor, kind of cut this plastic. Another thing you need to be careful of is the shifter is inside of here, so that there's a mechanism in there that moves. So make sure that obviously you're not making contact with that. Okay. See, that's in there. It's tight. You just gotta watch where you drill that. If you go too low, it won't be able to go through. If you go too high, it's not gonna work. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so there's our cable. Alright, now the only other thing you'd have to add is if you want to run like subwoofer cables or something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and just put some RCAs on here and this remote wire here. I'm gonna tap into that and run a remote wire in case I want to add a subwoofer in the future. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and make connections now on the back of the radio, and you want to plug. There's two sets of auxiliary inputs. You want to plug the set in that is connected to the auxiliary port in the center stack here, and you can test that by, you know, plugging something in and pressing auxiliary on the screen here. Once we've got all of our connections made, look over everything, double check. See, I've got a lot going on here. I've got my subwoofer wire on a splitter here, so that'll run to the back to a subwoofer in the future. I'm not doing that in this video. Now's the time to get it done. This stereo does have an optical output and a coaxial output. If you want to use a digital amplifier for just my needs, I'm just going to be using the internal amplifier. And I'm going to go ahead and set this in place now. Just key out. Okay, so out of the way, screw it in. Stereo where it needs to be. Alright, so before I get this plugged in, I need to put my top panel back together. Alright. Tucked in here. Just don't forget to connect your hazard flasher. You can see. All right, before I snap it down in, I'm gonna make sure everything works as it's supposed to. That's a good sign. Put it in reverse, see what happens. All right, so I do not have the radar system, so you can turn this off. But I wanted to show you something real quick. It's kind of neat. So to set up the backup camera. So I noticed the lines still come up, but the video is not showing on the backup camera. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. I don't really care because obviously I want it right here is where I want it. But something that's kind of neat, so if you press the menu button, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in park for a second. Press the menu button, and then press and hold the menu and source button together, and keep holding them, and then the secret hidden menu will come up. You can select the camera, so we'll go down and we'll hit camera. All right. Now see, we're in normal view. So I'll go ahead and put it in reverse. Normal view. But if we hit this button here, we can select our different views. So there's wide view, normal view, top-down view, wide view, as you can see. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in normal view. See? Hit the menu. We're out of the menu settings. I'll go ahead and pop it back and park here. So it looks like everything's working good. I have sound, as you can see. And that's good. And what's kind of neat about this is the radio station that you are on actually shows up. I'll show you here. It actually shows up here. So you can see if I change radio stations, it actually communicates that over the CAN bus network to the car. And if I change the volume, it changes it on that screen also, which I don't know. I just think that's really neat. And then it goes to aux extension. But, you know, obviously you still have control, you know, with your buttons here. We can change screens. Just have your compass. The clock is synced to a clock on this radio here over the CAN bus. So kind of a neat little setup that we got going on here. It appears that everything works. I'm going to go ahead and get this pushed in, and I'll go over some settings with you, but you can see, you know, if we turn on the lights, we have our dimming and our lighting come on. Obviously our steering wheel controls, they work. It shows on there and up here. So if I press the source button, it scrolls through different sources. The menu is obviously for the iMid screen. All right, so works pretty good so far. Now we'll go through some of the features of the radio itself. All right, so now that we've got everything installed, I'm gonna go ahead and change a few settings here. First thing is, let's see, I'll go to factory settings, 3368, confirm. Okay, so we don't want to mess with any of this. This is our car model, CRV. Obviously that works, everything's working good. We don't want to mess with that. You can change the boot screen logo. So we'll go here, we will make it a Honda logo. All right, we'll go back. All right, we're gonna go to general settings now. We don't want the brake wire for NGO motion, so we're gonna turn that off. That means you can watch video while the car is moving. Obviously, it's for passengers only. Let's see. Mute audio when reversing. I do not want to mute the audio. We just want, that means it'll completely mute the audio when you put it in reverse and the backup camera comes on. Backlight control, small light control. No. You can, the sound reduction when reversing means it will just reduce the sound level. All right, lantern settings. This is for the light on the screen. So obviously our CRV has white backlighting anyway. So I'm going to change, see it turn on here. Turn on parking lights. All right, just turn the automatic off. If I press white, it's not very white. So I'm gonna have to kind of like custom drag these sliders to where I get a more white color. That's about as close as we're gonna get. All right, so there's our lantern. Steering wheel settings we don't want to play with because everything's set up correctly. You can set a navigation app. You can use Google Maps. You can install a offline navigation. Obviously, you can set up your Wi-Fi network in here. All right. Again, factory settings 3368. It's set up already for 2012 Honda CRV. Antenna normally on. Again, boot screen logo. There's not a whole lot in here. Panel key learning changes these keys. We're not going to play with that because everything's set up good. You can see when I open the door, that shows up on the screen. All right, so I think we're good on our settings now. So now there's a lot of stuff you can do. This is just like any other Android setup. You know, if you want to set a live wallpaper or just a regular background, some kinds of neat stuff you can do. There's a new wallpaper. Again, everything is working as it should. Oh yeah, I need to go in and turn off the radar because, again, I don't have the radar. That's so original car agreement. So we go in here, show external temperature, automatic start and stop, radar display on off. So this is where we want to radar display. We're going to turn that off. Okay. So we should be good now. So if I put it in reverse, you can see it does not do that. Got it in reverse. You can see the lines do not move when we turn the wheel because this car does not support that, but all right, so the last thing I want to show you is Android Auto in operation. Apple CarPlay will be similar. So I'm going to plug my phone in here. And the first time it'll ask you to go through the setup process just like always. I'm going to click this CarLink app button and it will go ahead and it will load. All right. And so you can see it started playing some music. You have everything Android Auto working perfectly. So it works real nice. Your screen up here is just showing a USB connection. So there you go. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, this is just a quick installation video and a quick overview video of how this works. I'm just like all of JY-HQ's products. I'm pleased with how this works. Like I said, there's just a few little things with all those radios that could be better, you know, as far as the installation, but now that it's done, it looks great. And the thing I really like about this unit is the physical volume buttons. So again, I'll leave a link in the description below where you can buy this unit because it's a little harder to find one that actually has the physical buttons. Everybody thinks that everyone wants just the big tablet look. I love having this button because you just tap it to mute it real quick. And you've got, you know, you can change. This is your left and right button over here. Again, when the backlighting's on, you've got all these other buttons: navigation, music, back, home, phone, band, mode, dim. Change your display brightness. Now there's a million other features I could go through. It's just the same as any other JY-HQ radio, so I'm not going to cover all the features in here. This is more of an installation and overview video. All right, so without going into too much detail, I'll leave links in the description below to some more in-depth reviews on basically the exact same unit as this that I've done on other vehicles. Like I said, JY-HQ makes this same unit that fits in multiple vehicles. But I'll say this unit really has a great sounding built-in amplifier. So without changing any of the speakers, just using the stock Honda speakers, without adding a subwoofer, it really improved the sound. So if you're worried about the sound being worse or the same, these new units from JY actually, they sound better than like a Pioneer or a Kenwood stereo. They have a lot more range in the equalizer. You can really, you know, punch out the low frequency bass and the high range treble. So I'm really impressed in a stock setup with just stock speakers, what you can do to improve the audio quality. So I just wanted to mention that in this video for sure, that don't hesitate because of the sound quality, because it is 100 times better than the stock head unit, and you get all the extra features that go along with it. So again, let me know in the comments what you think. Be sure to like the video if it helped you. Subscribe for more, and until next time, we'll see you later.